We're going to show a number of use cases of how Xangati helps manage your XenApp environment. The first use case that we're going to show is where a user is able to log in successfully, as here. Let's try to log in here. I'm going to enter a username, password, and the domain. So logging in is successful. However, launching PowerPoint isn't. So the user is now in a state where he or she doesn't understand why this is happening. And in the Xangati solution, what we recommend is that they use the visual trouble ticket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log off from here, and you'll see why I've done that. So in the visual trouble ticket, what you're doing is you are entering, the name of the user. If I'm the user, Mo, I enter the name. I enter the user ID, and then I say cannot seem to launch PPT. Any reason for that? Help. And I'm going to submit a visual trouble ticket. So the visual trouble ticket is basically a way of capturing the next 15 minutes of the user's experience with respect to trying to launch the app and failing. So let's try to create the visual trouble ticket, and it says, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is your username that we're going to look for. After you start this, you're going to go through the process of logging in again and launching the application, and then see what we can find out. So let's start off the VTT with log collection. And you have a VTT that has been launched. Okay, so we go back to this guy here, and we say skip to log on. So we're going to try to log in again. So we say mo at Xangati.com, and then you enter the domain name, which is vs.stg.xangati.com. And this is your typical login in your environment, whatever it is. And I guess I must have made a mistake. Not the first time. Here you go. Let's try it this time. Okay. So the last time I was here, I clicked on PowerPoint and it failed. So let's see if I can repeat that. Yep, there it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the VTT, which is currently running, keep going, and it'll run for about 15 minutes collecting data, and I'll show you where you can see it. If I go to the appliance manager, right here is where this data is being collected. So while it is doing that, I want to show you a couple of things in this environment. So very quickly, what you'll see is one of the recordings that is occurring is XA client 1 has submitted a visual trouble ticket, and it's a VTT which has been started at 18:31:36. You can in fact play it, and what you see is what has been done so far, which is something that is going on from 1816, and you can see that the client in this case is not really talking to anyone. It is using some active memory. It has some traffic that went on early on, and then it's pretty much quiet. So we're going to come back to this in a second, and what we're going to do next is we are going to go to the appliance manager where we can get into more detail, and you say the same thing here, and you say show detail, and it says it's launched at this time, it's going to finish at 1831 from XA client 1, and so on, what the user said, and then you can say what the issue is, and in this case the issue is that between 1636 and 1936 there was no real session for mode, no application was consumed, but the controller has a couple of problems it has identified from its logs. The Citrix servers reported that they were too busy to provide access to the application, and it could not find, the second entry says it could not find a server which could launch the Office PowerPoint 2 application. So basically what it has said is, hey, the controller says, look, I have this request, but I'm not able to launch the specific application because of constraints. So it is something that we can use to identify what the specific issues are. So there are details in the log that can be quite useful. So that is use case, the first use case, and we'll move on to the second use case now. In the second use case, we have figured out that there was an issue with one of the XenApp servers per the log. We have fixed it and restarted the Service Manager, Citrix Service Manager, and now you can see, now that we are logged in, we can launch PowerPoint. And there it goes, starting it. And the user is now happy. And what we're going to show you is how this manifests in our virtual app user interface. As we can see, we have Mo logged in as a user. There is PowerPoint running, and you can see the XenApp server is working. You click on Mo here, what you'll see is PowerPoint running, XenApp 6512 working, and XA client being the one from which this is being launched. One of the things you can do is you can go into the specific app server. You can look at the data stores it's interacting with, very useful. When there are storage issues, you can look at assorted metrics, a whole bunch of metrics, all the way from its network bitrate to its active memory to its data store IOPS to its data store latency, and you can take this back and forth. So you have per second control of this. You can also look for a given app server at its operating system details, and this should pop open relatively quickly here. And what this will show is effectively the task manager view that you end up getting, and that is quite useful as one wants to investigate what's causing specific issues. So as you can see, what we're showing here is the fact that there are a number of processes that are running, and the fact that in this particular case a number of different processes have different amounts of storage, and we also have something else which is running, which is the 6511, and you can also look at the disk ops and the network packet rate and a few other things like available physical memory and processor time. You can also look here at top IOs in different ways for both these guys. It's also possible to look at the ICA breakdown. There's not much going on, so let me try to enter some activity here and see if it picks it up. It should have it for 11, which is probably a media player application that is running, and this should show up momentarily. So you can see there is some activity in terms of session bitrate. You can look at the compression. You can look at the latency, which is very good, and the last latency, which is very good. You can do the same thing for the other app servers. So lots of details are provided, which is quite handy. So another use case we're going to look at is what happens when the app server is very sluggish. You actually have a session like this one, but for some reason the app is sluggish. So in this case, 6512 potentially is having trouble, and the reason we know that is here's the PowerPoint, and I'm trying to do a few things here, and it's taking, in some cases, some amount of time. So I'm not entirely sure why this is happening, and it's a little sluggish. So I want to understand what could be potentially causing it. And in that case, what I do is I basically go down to the particular server, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the metrics that I might be seeing. And see if that explains anything. So what I'm seeing right now is a usage which is well above the threshold, consumed memory is well above threshold, and I expect this to start alerting. So one of the things we want to do is go to the visual trouble ticket and change this to PP2 seems, or say something like works now but seems sluggish. And it asks you the same question. You go ahead and send that, and you do have a new VTT. being issued here, which is going to go on for 15 minutes till 1920 here. So we will look at that point. So the first thing you want to do is go look at the appliance manager and see how this particular thing is working in terms of log information. So you view that and you see that usermo is logged in, and what you're seeing is that PowerPoint 2 is being used, but there are no unusual entries that can be seen. So this tells us that it is an issue that is not related to any service being down or anything like that. So what you want to do at this point is play the VTT, and let's see what it has. So if you play the VTT, it's showing what the client does, but then you notice that XenApp 6. This one is also showing an issue. So if you click on that, you should be able to go to the other dashboard and look at that. So what you're seeing for 6512 is that CPU usage is very high, much higher than normal. So if you look at system performance and you look at what's going on, well, guess what? A couple of PowerShells are running for whatever reason on XenApp 6512, and they are eating a lot of CPU and a bunch of memory. So you're doing this all wrong. So this is an indication that there is some internal stuff running on the XenApp server that shouldn't be running, and the way you've been able to figure out is you've been able to use VTT to see that the app server that was running from the client was under duress. You went and looked at it in more detail, and you found what the issue was. And these things normally show up in the alerts window. So this is where it shows, where you can play back, and it'll show you what the app server is up to from the time it ended up having a problem. So you see the usual culprits, and if you want to look at the client here, you can just say app clients by instance count, and there it shows it. So this app client is using this alerting server, and this is the issue. So this is an example where logs won't help you, but our system will help you. Okay, so let's move on to the third use case. So the last use case we will show is one where one is not even able to log in to the app server to launch an application. So let's say you skip to login, and I'm typing the same stuff that I've been typing through this demo. So I try to log in. Okay, let me try again. So now it says, please verify your username and password and try logging on again. So just one more time. Maybe I mistyped it. And I'm getting the same issue. So it's back to our visual trouble ticket. And this time I'm going to say, now I cannot even log in. So this user is having a pretty bad day. And we're going to submit this and say yes. And we're going to go back here and we're going to try it one more time so that we can capture it in the logs for the VTT. Same problem. One last time before I, the user, are going to give up. And unless somebody gets back to me pretty soon, I'm going to go home or go complain to someone. All right, so what you want to look at is you want to look at the VTT that has been submitted, which is this one, and we're going to do that momentarily. So what we're seeing here is if you click on view and you look at it in detail, it says between 1924 and 1927 this person logged on and is using PowerPoint, and it says then, you know, at 1924 it ends up showing that Citrix XML services failed to respond, and so basically you're having very basic problems at in the controller itself, and that will tell you that there are a bunch of issues that need to be fixed with respect to the DDC before this login problem can be fixed. So this is an example where the logs, the 4 log entries, can come in very handy in identifying that there is an issue with the DDC, and it's not a case of a user doesn't know the password or anything of that sort. So in summary, you know, the Xangati virtual app solution offers a number of ways of diving into detail. You know, from the UI, you've seen you can look at the user, the client, the server, the data store in real time. You can dive into the operating system, into the IC breakdown, and then of course you can use the visual trouble ticket to submit you know, details that you can get by going to the relevant app servers and the relevant DDCs and getting their log file, relevant log file data, which can give additional color into what possibly is going on. That concludes this demo session.